Woo! Feels like sleepy time in here. In the book it said, let there be light. There we go. Indeed, indeed. Welcome to live streaming and live service from Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful downtown Pasadena, California, USA. The heart of the theater district. And hey, Rev. And we have bodies in the seats here. Just a reminder that if you're at home watching in your PJs, you might want to put on some clothes and come on hang out with us because we got some good energy going here this morning. I'm Reverend Michael Bernard Lattimore, your guide on the side this morning, assistant minister here at Ahiah, and just honored to be home. Just by way of disclosure, I want to let you know that I've been in prison. And it was so nice, I went to prison twice. Yesterday I was at the CAC California City prison for men, and then the week before, Marcia and I were at California Institute for Women in Chino, and we were with the Freedom to Choose Project, and it's appropriate that today our theme is caring compassionately because we got a chance to go and actually put that compassion into action. And 95% of folks that are incarcerated or having an experience of incarceration are coming home one day. And we want them to come home in a much better energy than they were when they went in. And so yeah. It's good to be home, and I'm still decompressing. So there might be moments of blank spots where I just appear to wander off in space, but don't worry, I'll be back. I'm just decompressing from the events of the weekend. Very powerful experience. So our theme this month is being the beloved community. Today, Reverend Scott, our senior minister, will deliver the wisdom talk entitled Caring Compassionately, and I'll be doing the power talk. Yeah, that's the ticket. Okay. You got a chance to hear Chris Glick. He's our musical director, licensed practitioner, and he is tickling the keys over there, along with Brian Menifee with the rhythms, holding up the percussions, and Leon Johnson is wandering around somewhere, and he will be holding down the bass. So Leon and Chris, Brian. Oh, he's doing the sound today. Leon's in the sound booth. Let's give him some love. Leon, we thank you. So he's managing the flow of electrons so that we can be heard. Indeed, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we also want to acknowledge Harris. He's our stage manager, our technical director. He's slicing and dicing, managing our live streaming and so forth. And our beloved Hugs volunteer, Dorothy. She is in the back. Thank you, Dorothy. My sound went out. And normally when that happens, that means batteries. Am I back? Oh, hey, I'm back. That was quick.
Did we put new batteries?
No, we didn't. No, I can tell. So normally when the sound, check, yep. When the sound goes out, it means that we need batteries. Batteries are required, but, ease and grace, we just switch mics and we keep it moving, yes? Mm-hmm. And also, our musical inspiration today, special acknowledgement, is Vanessa Simon. Let's give Vanessa some love. And when I came in, she was rehearsing a piece with her daughter, Alana. So we want to give Alana some love because we know she's somewhere around. And in a moment, we're going to be hearing her beautiful voice. So what a treat. What a treat. Mother and daughter. I don't know that we've had that in quite a while. Yeah. Yes, indeed. It is home. You're absolutely right, Chris. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay, so the mic's back for Mike. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got love. All right. Yeah, see, we just paint it red and keep moving. Indeed. Our invocation and reading, our practitioner of the day is Marcia Bradshaw. You may have gotten a sense of her loving consciousness in the meditation this morning. Thank you, Marcia. And Marcia also goes to prison with me. Yeah. Or I go to prison with her because she was going to prison before I started going to prison, way back in probably 2007 or something like that. Yeah. What a blessing. So I think we are ready to get God's party going. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. So in a moment, you will see the beautiful, oh no. Oh, song first. Easy peasy. A congregational song led by Vanessa Simon. Please feel free to join in. The words will be on the screen.
I surrender, I surrender. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God. So grateful, I'm one in the Spirit of God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one in the Spirit of God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I trust in God. I trust in God.
And so now we're going to do a meditation video that's been put together by Gabriel. The meditation will be on your screen up here and also on the screen for you at home. So let's just take a deep breath in and let that go.
Look at this face, I know the years are showing. Look at this life, still don't know where it's going. Don't know much, but I know I love you. And that may be all I need to know.
Look at these eyes, they never seem to matter. Look at this dream, so bitter and so bitter.
Don't know much, but I know I love you. And that may be all I need to know. So many questions still left unanswered. So much I've never broken through.
And when I feel you near me, sometimes I see so clearly
The only truth I've ever known is being you. Look at this man, so blessed with inspiration. Look at this soul, still searching for salvation. I don't know much, but I know I love you.
Thank you, Gabriel. And so now I'd like to ask Marcia Bradshaw to come on up, and she's going to do our invocation and reading.
Good morning again and welcome. It is so wonderful to be here this morning. And I say, even if it is raining. Most people say, I'm glad that it's raining. So I am going to read from 365 Days, Science of Mind. December is the month of light. A new light is coming into the world. We are on the borderline of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. Ernest Holmes. Then shall thy light break forth. Isaiah 58:8. The knowledge that there is a central chamber of the soul, blazing with the light of the divine love and wisdom, has come. In the course of history, the multitudes of human beings are the light. In the world as it is, the richness of the outer stirs us all to the wonder of the inner, whose greatness is displayed in acts so splendid. The wonderful ordering of the sun, the planets, and the comets cannot but be the work of an intelligent, all-powerful being. I can see that in the midst of darkness, light persists. Hence, I gather that God is life, truth, light. God is love. God is the supreme good. And it's in moments of deepest realization that the great mystics have sensed that one life flows through all, and that all are some part of that life. They have also seen substance, a fine, white, brilliant stuff forever falling into everything. A substance indestructible and eternal. It is at such times of complete realization that they have been blinded by the light of which we have been speaking. Ernest Holmes. So this morning's full reading is taken from today, the 11th. Today I will walk in the light, and my consciousness will be illumined. The sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Isaiah. Who uses well this light, his light, reverting to its source so bright, will from their body ward all plight. There are so many illustrations in the sacred texts of the world relating to the light. The Spirit is thought of as being the essence of light. People are spoken of as being the candles of the Lord. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it. That is, the darkness has no power over light. Light will overcome darkness, but darkness cannot overcome light. When Isaiah said that the Lord shall be thy everlasting light, what he meant was that there is light within us, the light of truth, the light of spirit, the light of God that cannot set, cannot become obliterated, cannot be blown out. The candle of the Lord burns forever because its wick is sunk deep in the well springs of reality. That light, that spring, that substance to which Jesus referred when he told the woman at the well that if ever she drank from it, she would never thirst again. It is no wonder that the woman asked him to give her of this water, that she might no longer be compelled laboriously to draw from the fountain that can become depleted. Today, I will walk in the light, and my consciousness will be illumined. My thoughts will be guided, and my way guarded. For I know that in my light there is no darkness. In this divine light there are no shadows. So if you will, turn within and just honor the presence of the Most High, recognizing the perfection of God in all things, recognizing the light that is within each one of us. I know that this day is a blessed day, for the light shines through the clouds, through the rain, through everything, for that light shines within me. And as I know that light shining within me, I know it shining within each one of us. And it's from that space and blessed place that I speak the word this morning for this service, recognizing that God, and only God, expresses in this day through each one of us. It acts as our light. It speaks through us being the light. And it is from this space and place that I know every person that is here is blessed. That each person that has taken part in this service is a blessing. I know this for Reverend Scott, as I know this for Reverend Michael, as I know it for the musicians. I know it for each person that has come this morning to support this service, and all those individuals that have come to hear the word spoken. For truly the light shines in this space and around the world. And I just bless this planet, knowing that good and God is expressing as the light. And it is for this awareness that I say thank you, thank you, thank you. For I know that eternal light shines. I know that the love of God is expressed. And I know that each person is surrounded with that love, that light, that joy that is God's gift to each one of us. So I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the word spoken. Thank you for each person present. Thank you for all those individuals that will tune in to this service. For it is good, it is blessed, it is God. And so I release this word into the law, saying, it is done. And together we say, and so it is. Amen, amen, ashe.
Mm-hmm. And so, such a beautiful morning, raining, right? We get to enjoy the rain. We haven't been getting to enjoy the rain that much lately. And so I'd like to go ahead and ask Vanessa to come on up And while she's coming up, what I'd like you to do is just give a nice Ahiah welcome to the people around you. You don't have to hug or anything. Just, wave, say hi, God bless you. I'm so glad that you're here, coming in out of the rain. And so, yeah, even Gabriel all the way in the back. And so, Vanessa.
Hi.
So Vanessa is one of our own, and we just want to say thank you for coming up. This is your first time singing for us, and we're just looking so forward. I am looking so forward to that. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So the theme is community this month, and I just thought, what an amazing song that John Lennon wrote. Imagine that we're all together and we don't have these masks and costumes, and that there's no difference of color or race or creed or religion or sexual orientation. And that's why I chose this song. He had a dream, just like Dr. Martin Luther King. You can just imagine that we could all be together and that there are no barriers between us, who just really want to feel loved and accepted.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Yeah. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. You can join in. No possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man, or sisterhood. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Yes, yes. Beautiful song choice. It's so appropriate for our time together today. So let me just put a few things in order. It's been one of those mornings. I got in last night from Salt Lake City, from a planning thing I was doing for Big Sky Retreat that'll be in September. And the plane came in 3.5 hours late. So it's just been one of those things. But, you know, as we allow ourselves to just be centered, everything comes back into the center, doesn't it? So thank you, Vanessa. So December's theme absolutely is being the beloved community. And, you know, last week what we said is it's so important to be in the beloved community from a place of ensuring safety. We create safety when we're in the beloved community. And then we said things like, you know, if we're going to be safe, it's important that in that community we can be heard, that we can be cared for, that we are able to ask for our needs to be met. Those are some hallmarks, you know, of a beloved community that's safe. But I was wondering if that's what it takes to be safe, but there are more things that we get out of community than safety. Things like belonging, for instance. We come into community to belong. And so, what do you guys come into community to experience? Just shout it out, and then I'll repeat it so the people that are online here can hear it. Rev, what do you come to?
Friendship.
Friendship, yeah, friendship.
Shared values.
Shared values, yeah. Mm-hmm. Service, yeah. Support, respected. Mm-hmm. And perspective, okay? Respected and perspective.
Accepted.
Acceptance, yeah. Mutual reality, yeah. Growing together. There's so many reasons for us to come into community. You know, connection, growing together, sharing our gifts in community. These are all wonderful things that are really important to us. And so if it's important that we create safety in community, and it's important that we have all these other things in community, then I think it's also important that we take care of our community. We protect our community. You know, sometimes in community that doesn't always work, though. Right? Sometimes that isn't what we always experience, because sometimes things get in the way. Even when people are being good-hearted, right? They're coming from a place of their intentions are good. They love the people that they're with. Sometimes it doesn't quite click, does it, though? Just think back to your family origins. Right? When you were a kid growing up in your family, in that family, I can guarantee, absolutely guarantee. So anybody can raise their hand and call me a liar, but didn't your family argue sometimes? Right? Yeah, or maybe a lot of times. Right? Wasn't there friction in the family sometimes? Weren't there disagreements about the direction that you wanted to go? You know, Disneyland or the beach. You know, it can be very simple things that get in the way. But what would happen in the family usually Usually, people came back to the place that said, oh, yeah, okay, we're disagreeing, and we are still family. We're disagreeing, but we love each other. We're disagreeing, and we still want to respect each other because we know that if we keep going down this path, we could end up in a place where, we've all seen families that have long-term feuds, right? Something is said, and it just keeps going. And we don't want that. So we need to remember that we want to protect our community, protect it, and get the things so that we can get the things that are important to us: connection and love and respect and perspective and all those things that we said was important to us. Now, here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we actually have what's known as a Global Heart Statement. The Global Heart. This came out in the early 2000s. And there's a whole bunch of statements out of it, and I want to share one with you. It says, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, a world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. Right? All life. All people, not just our neighborhood, but the entire world. That's the global heart vision. That's the place where we believe in this philosophy that we teach here that we can achieve that. But what does it take to do that? What does it take to achieve something like that? Well, I think part of it is that same wisdom that we were talking about a moment ago that came from our families. This idea that we have to protect the safety of our family, the safety of our community, the safety of our nation, the safety of our world, the safety of all the people that live in this world. And so it's our job, for not just the world, not just for Russia and Ukraine, maybe also closer to home, maybe our politics and our nation, so that we can come together and know that the important thing is that we love each other. And so, bringing it even closer, we want to bring it into our home, into our neighborhoods, and even into our spiritual community. This idea that it's important that not just that we're in community, but that we protect that community. So, lots and lots of good stuff. We're talking about community this whole month. And I'm going to take a pause because I'm going to ask Reverend Mike to come on up. He's going to give us a power talk. I'm interested to hear what he has to say about community.
Thank you, Rev. Thank you. Indeed, indeed. My grandmother used to say, sometimes teeth and tongue don't get along, and they got to live in the same mouth. Sometimes that's the way it goes, right? Even in beloved community, there can be some opportunity to care compassionately for one another, to accept one another. The number one complaint about relationships, you know what people say? He doesn't listen to me. She doesn't listen to me. Communication. And there's power in listening. There's power in just opening up from the heart to listen to another human being. Yesterday at the prison, we practiced a communication skill called respectful communication. Listening, compassionate listening. And it's a process in which a person talks and the other person listens and then confirms understanding. So one person talks talks about an opportunity or a challenge in their life, anything. And then the other person says, so if I heard you right, what you said was, and then they get a chance to say, that's not exactly what I said. What I really meant was, and so they get to clarify. And there's communication that takes place. There's a speaker, there's a listener, and then there's an opportunity to go back and forth and listen to one another. What a skill. What a skill. Imagine if the whole world did that, right? We've been conditioned to listen in a way in which we are preparing our response. For my wife and I, we've been together for over 4 decades. Ooh. So we got practice in that. There's certain thing that she says, and when she says that thing, I say that thing I say. Then she says that thing she says, then I say that thing she says. And then the next thing you know, right? Yeah, teeth and tongue, we got to live together. But I learned something yesterday. I learned that I have the right to remain silent. Now, of course, I already knew that, but I needed the reminder. I needed the reminder that I can just say, okay. Okay? No matter what she says. She comes home from work and says, look at this house. You retired, you've been here all day, look at this house. I can just say, okay. I can just say, honey, tell me more about that. I could. Because beloved community is a place where we listen to one another. And no matter what we're saying, there's a listening ear on the other side. I learned yesterday, got reminded again that I don't have to have an opinion. Don't have to have one. It's not that important. I can allow another person the dignity of their process. Because we're all going home. And so their opinion might be a little different than mine. It might be a voice in my head that says, that opinion is kind of whack, right? But I don't have to say that. I can just listen. Otherwise, my consciousness is developing, this thing called judgment, which is, that's just wrong. That shouldn't be. Ain't it awful? People who think like that are, insert the description, right? And sometimes caring compassionately involves what I like to call carefrontation. And it's confronting with truth, but from a caring place, where I'm truly curious about a person's opinion, about, their ideas. They might be diametrically opposed to mine, but I can still ask them, tell me more about that. I'm curious about that. I have the choice to do that. I mean, that's freedom. Because I know that sometimes there's some crazy ideas going on in my own head. You ever had a thought and ask yourself, where the heck did that come from? Right? I mean, that's part of the human condition. Sometimes we grab those thoughts out the ethers and they're floating around in our minds and we believe that they're true. I know about that. I know about being imprisoned in my own mind. I know about an idea that overcomes all other ideas and that I persist to believe in despite the evidence to the contrary. And that led me 35 years ago to getting sober. Because my head told me I could just take one. I could drink like my brother drank, or I could drink like other people drink. And so I had to have evidence in my life that that was not true. I could not. I am bodily and mentally different from other folks. There are some folks who can go to happy hour and come home at night. I'm not that one. And I have extensive evidence proving that I'm not that one. So my wife and I had been together for 10 years before I got sober. And my sponsor suggested that I didn't listen to her. She had a whole lot of upset, because I had been drinking for a while, right? So she had collected some judgments, right? And he suggested that we have a meeting at home, that we set a timer, and that each one of us gets to speak for 20 minutes, and the other person just listens. No feedback, no judgment, no you wrong, you crazy, none of that. Just listen. And I had what's called a BFO, a blinding flash of the obvious. I realized that I had never listened to this woman. I had never heard her heart. You know, whenever she said something that I objected to, I interrupted, passionately. No, you wrong. That's not right. That's crazy, right? But in this experience that we had for the first time, I got a chance to listen unconditionally and to hear her humanity, her feelings, her hurt, her anger, and to just say, okay. And then we reversed the roles and I got to talk for 20 minutes. And while I was talking, I got to hear those crazy ideas in my head. I was saying, wait a minute, that ain't right. Where did that come from, And then we had a 3-year-old, Marilyn, and she wanted to talk too. At that time, Marilyn would stop anybody who would listen. She'd say, excuse me, my daddy don't drink beer no more. And she told the world, everybody, she was so proud of her daddy. And when we set that timer and we let her speak, she didn't care. She was like, set the timer. And then she talked. And we listened to her. And then when the timer went off, she said, wait, I'm not finished. And she had to keep on talking. But we listened to her. And I realized that I was giving her a gift that I never had. Because they didn't listen to me when I was a child. They told me, children are meant to be seen and not heard. Shut up, boy. This is grown folks talk. That's what they said to me. So we get to honor one another by listening. And that's my invitation to you today. Listen to somebody. Somebody close to you or not. Maybe it's somebody over here by the freeway. Maybe it's somebody who seems like they just need a listening ear. Listen, because that's how we create beloved community. And beloved community is everywhere we are, because we are it. We are that light that Marsha read about, We are the community, reminding people that they belong, that we belong to one another, that we all came from Mother Eve. All of us, somewhere in the 5 Lakes region of Central Africa, this woman gave birth to life, the first human being. And her husband, Father Adam, they're our ancestors. And so no matter where we migrated to and came back from, whatever ship we took, we're all in the same boat now. We are the human family, beloved community. And it's an honor for you to listen to me. And I'm just going to say this in close. There's 2 individuals in this room that I used to rock as babies. They were little babies born in the Ahiah community. And I'm seeing them sitting up here, young adults, I'm like, dang, I must be getting old or something. Somebody's getting old. But I'm so honored to have them here listening. And honored for all of you to be in this space. So that's my story, Rev, and I'm sticking to it. Namaste, family.
Yes. Compassionate listening. We're talking today about caring compassionately, and what better way than listening? Just to bring it in and connect with one another. Absolutely. So, as I was thinking about this week, this idea of caring compassionately, I just started thinking, well, what do other religions think about that? Other philosophies think about that? Because, in the training within Centers for Spiritual Living for a minister, we take a lot of classes where we learn about other religions. For instance, in my, we all take different classes. It depends on our tastes and interests and everything. For me, I took a class on world religions. And the wonderful thing about that class was it introduced me to ancient religions, the Sumerians, the ziggurats, the fertility gods, the corn goddess. And I took two classes on the metaphysical Bible. And it's so wonderful to be able to pick up the Bible. Because when I was a kid, the Bible was hurtful to me. And so now it's become a document of love. And then I took a class on Islam, and I got introduced to Sufism, the mystical branch of the Islam faith. And what a beautiful faith that is. Kabbalah, right? Chris and I have talked about Kabbalah. Chris is from a Jewish faith, when he was growing up, and that's the mystical branch of the Jewish faith. And then there's Hinduism and getting introduced to the Bhagavad Gita. And finally, there was a class on Buddhism. And I remember for the first several weeks I was taking this class, and I thought, boy, this philosophy is so heady. It's so think. Where's the connection to the heart? How do I get to a place of feeling the divine? But then, it's a 10-week class, and somewhere around week 4 or something, I got introduced to the idea of compassion. Compassion as this way of being in Buddhism. And in the ideas of compassion, they have a saying in Buddhism that compassion is where the heart that trembles in the face of suffering. And when I first read that, I went, really? Suffering? That's where we're going to focus for compassion, is suffering? But then I went back and I looked at the root of the word compassion. And the root of the word of compassion comes from Latin, com, which is just with, and then probably something like passion or something like that. It's French. And that old French meaning was specifically around their understanding of Jesus on the cross, the suffering that Jesus felt on that cross. And so when we say compassion, what we're really saying is, I'm going to be with you in your suffering. What a thought, right? I'm going to be with you in your suffering. But I'm going to be with you from this place of Buddhism in your suffering where my heart is engaged. My heart is trembling. Now, suffering is really fundamental to Buddhism. It's the place that it got born, really. When I took that class it was actually in world religion rather than in the Buddhism class, I got the story of Sid. Sid is short for Siddhartha, which is the name of the Buddha, the name that he was born with. And when the Buddha, Siddhartha, Sid, was born, as he was still in the mother's belly, a prophet came to see them. And he made a prophecy, and he said, that either this baby, when it's born, it's either going to be someone who he's a wheel-turning monarch, right? He's going to be somebody that really takes control and makes big changes as a monarch. Or he's going to be someone who's a great spiritual leader. Now, the father of this child was the king. Which one do you think he wanted? Right? Did he want a great spiritual leader? Or did he want a son who would be turning the wheel of the world for him? After he's gone, he's taken over this kingdom and he's turning that wheel. Well, that's what he chose. And he had a plan. And he took this little baby, Sid, and he basically sequestered him. And he kept him in the palace. And for 29 years, this baby was only allowed to see the good things. He had plenty to eat. He was the prince. He had plenty of people to take care of him and feed him and play with him and do all the things and teach him. But anything that was negative that might bring out that compassionate heart, that was kept on the other side of those huge palace walls. And so until he was 29 years old, you could say he was a very guarded person. He didn't have a lot of experience. Now, one day, when Sid was 29, his father decided he'd go visit this other kingdom. Gonna be gone for a couple of weeks. When the cat's away, the mouse will play. And so Siddhartha takes the opportunity with one of his guards to go out into the city, someplace he had never been. And so you can imagine this city in India where you have all types of people, all conditions of people. And on the first day, he goes out of his palace and he sees a man, an aged man, very, very old. And he's like, what? Where did that come from? What is that over there? And so his guard had to explain to him that that's an old man, very, very old. And that, people, that's the natural thing that happens to people as we grow up and we grow old. And Siddhartha had never seen an older person. And so he's like, what? You mean the beauty? Because he was a very beautiful young man. This beauty that I have will change? Oh, I don't know. What do I do with that? Now, the second day he went out and he saw a very sick man. And the guard explained to him that people get sick. That, it's not just, not everybody lives to be the age of the old man, because some people get sick. And he's like, what? I might have this vitality that is mine, might go away. On the third day, he's out in the city and there's a funeral procession that goes by and he sees a dead man. He had never seen anybody that was dead. He'd never thought about it because that had never been in his reality. And the guard had to explain to him that one day for every last person that has ever lived, there will be a day when you'll no longer be here in this form. What? Really? I might change? I might not be the me that I know? And the fourth day, he goes out and he sees a monk. And this monk is out there studying. He talks to the monk, and the monk tells him he's studying suffering. He's studying how to overcome suffering. And this gives Sid hope. Because he's just been introduced to suffering, and now he's introduced to this idea that, well, maybe we don't have to suffer. And so then Sid goes out, and I won't go into that history because that's a long history, but he ends up under the Bodhi tree. He ends up becoming enlightened. And what does enlightenment mean? In the Buddhist tradition, enlightenment means that you are no longer suffering. And how did he achieve that? He achieved it by letting go. Because he realized that what we do is we suffer when we hold on to things, when we grasp, when we attach ourselves to these things, whatever it is. Health, beauty, life, money, a particular relationship. Things that we want to go on forever. And so this idea that we are all guaranteed somehow to suffer, he didn't want that. And he found his own solution. So I'm telling you all of this story for the simple reason that we want to come to understand that caring comes through us seeing another person suffering. That caring that makes our heart tremble. And it's not that we want to just go out and fix it, right? It's not that we're going to throw dollars out of our window at the freeway stop. You know, that's just, I'm not saying not to do that by any means, but if that's the only thing that we do, if we give in order to put the barrier up so we no longer see that person, then that's not compassionate caring at all. So what do we do? What is the way that we need to go? And by the way, why do we have compassion for other people? Well, the reason we have compassion for other people, I think, is because, as Stephen Hawking says, he's the famous scientist, the physicist, he says, we are all different. There is no such thing as a standard or run-of-the-mill human being, but we share the same human spirit. Physicists say the damnedest things sometimes, don't you think? Right? We all share the same human spirit. It's the oneness that lives within us. It's the oneness that is the truth of every one of us. So when we see the world clearly, then what we get is we get that global heart vision. And I want to go to a different one of the sayings that's out there, passages that's in the vision. It says, we envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. Aren't those some of the same words we said earlier? Some of the things that we said were important to us in community. And so it's community that's going to give us those things. And it's community that allows us to know that truth more fully in our lives. But community is actually a revealing of what is essentially true of us already. It's the abundance and the oneness and the peace and absolutely the love that Spirit is being revealed as the truth of us in our oneness and in the way that we come together caring for each other so that our heart trembles. So we want to remember the Buddha. We want to remember that we're not going to be attached, but we're going to allow ourselves to actually see the truth. But here's the deal. Oftentimes people ask me, well, Reverend Scott, what should I do? What should I do when I come to that situation? What should I do when I meet the person who's unhoused on the corner? What should I do when I go to a prison and I'm with people who have lost their freedom? What should I do? And the answer, I think, is always the same, really. It's do what's in your heart. Allow Spirit to speak through you. Allow Spirit to give you the idea of what that action is. And then do that. Right? It's not all this stuff in our head. We spend so much time thinking and thinking and thinking about what we should do. But especially in these cases like this, what we should do is we should just allow Spirit to guide us. So, in that idea of taking action, I want to give you an affirmation that's on our screen here. Let's just say that affirmation together. I supplement my compassion with action. Let's say that again. I supplement my compassion with action. Thank you, Harris. That's Harris's affirmation, by the way. So as you go out into your week, what I'd like you to think about is what do you want to get from community? Remember, we asked that question. Well, keep that kind of going in your mind. What is important for me in community? And then think about, how do I keep my community safe? From the perspective of, how do I protect the community that I have? It may just be that I have to be involved in the community, right? Part of protecting it is just being there with it and as it, being a part of it. And then recognize when your heart trembles, right? When we have this compassionate connection to another human being, to another dog, to another consciousness, whatever it is. Recognize when my heart trembles. And then ask yourself, what attachment do I have that I need to release? Right? That heart that's trembling, it's because there's something that I haven't allowed myself to let go. And what action is Spirit asking me to step into in this moment? Maybe it's nothing. You know, the truth is we cannot individually take care of every human being on this planet. There's 8 billion of us now. You know, we crossed that line, right? Recently, we're now 8 billion humans on this planet. And so nobody can take care of all 8 billion people. So who is mine to take care of? Spirit knows. Because what's true of Spirit always is Spirit always tells us what's best for us and for everyone around us. And then finally, if you're at all confused, not sure what to do, just let Spirit guide you. Thank you, and namaste. And so now is the time to just ground in, to anchor in some of these ideas with a little bit of prayer. And thank you, Chris, for playing under this prayer. And so I know, and I know that I know that I know that there is only one life, one power, one presence, this life that is divine, this life that is God, this life that is so much more than I am. There's a saying from Ernest Holmes that says, there is a power greater than I in the universe, and I can use it. And there's another version of that saying that says, there is a power greater than I in the universe, and it can use me. And so we open ourselves to both ways of being. I open myself to that knowing that Spirit just says yes. That this life divine is moving through us and as us, through me, as me, through you and as you. That all that Spirit is the truth of each and every one of us. That the life that is love and peace and joy and harmony and balance and order, all of that, freedom most essentially, is the truth of each and every person in each and every circumstance. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word as the truth of us all right here, for all of us who are online, that this life divine is moving through us and as us. And so there is a path forward for each and every one of us that leads us to our highest potential, that leads us to a place where everything is good for us and it's also good for everybody around us. We don't have to step on anybody to get what we need in our life, because God is infinite in its source. It allows and gives of itself freely. And so I know as we move forward today that we allow ourselves and our hearts to open wide. We allow our heart to tremble when we see somebody come in a compassionate way, when we are caring compassionately for somebody else, and yet we don't allow it to rock us. It doesn't take us down, because we know that there is a truth that's grander, that's bigger than that is true of them already right now. And I'm so grateful for that knowingness. I'm grateful for us coming together in community. I'm grateful for this place called Ahiah. I'm grateful for all that we are together and all that we give each other together. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now is the time for our conscious contributions. And so if you're here in the sanctuary, there are offering envelopes in the pews, and Dorothy's coming up with our offering basket, and she'll pass that around. And if you're online, there are 3 ways to give. We have ahiah.com/donate, or you can text give at 616-229-2225. You just start out by texting the word give to that number, and then it'll guide you through the process. And you can always send a check in to our address showing on the screen here. And if you do, just write a few words to me. I always love to see those notes. So however that shows up, what I'd like to do is just go ahead and take that offering, that virtual offering, to our hearts and say what's on our screen together here. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so now is the time for me to ask Vanessa to come on up again. And I think she's going to introduce us to somebody special, too. Mm-hmm.
This is my daughter, Alana. We got some jitters up here, but that's okay, right? Because we're in community. Yes. So we are going to be supported, and we're going to be held. Okay. So this song is A Million Dreams, and it's very special to Alana and myself. And it's basically imagining again that world that we want to live in. And I can start by being the best mom to Alana and guiding her and loving her and cherishing her and inspiring her. And so when we are a team, I feel that we inspire others. So that's where I start with my little seed. And we also love the movie, so I hope you're inspired.
close my eyes and I can see the world that's waiting for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, to where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. Think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house, every room inside is filled, things from far away, special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. And every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. Think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, so bring me along to the world I'll see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. A million dreams are keeping me awake. Vision of the one I see. A million dreams are the only it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. Million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Oh, beautiful. So, Alana, I hope that this is a memory that you have with you always. You know, that touches me because, one of the things, Lisa is right back there, and I'm going to go ahead and have her bring up everybody with her. But one of the things that has been so important to me is that we grow our youth program here. And one of the things that Lisa and I have been conspiring about is to have a youth Sunday, a service that is put on by our youth. And I'm just seeing that possibility growing in front of our eyes.
Good morning. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. December is, very focused on gift giving, and we tend to focus on the gifts that we receive. So today we did a little exploring into the immaterial gifts that we get, and we did some compare and contrast with material things that we think are gifts that then sometimes get weighty. We did that by carrying around bags of rocks that were about 10 pounds for a while. We held onto them. And then we eventually made a list of immaterial gifts going through the alphabet. And a few of us are going to share 3 things are on our list.
Love, joy, and kindness.
Determination, energy, and fun.
Joy, kindness, and life.
Love, kindness, and trust.
Thank you. And I just want to say a big thank you to our chili sale camp for Chili for Camp last week. It was very successful. We ran out of chili, and so thank you for everybody that helped us with that. And we're on our way to camp.
And how many people are we taking to camp?
We have 6 kids going to camp, so that's very exciting.
All right, thank you, guys. And so, just a couple more announcements. One from Nancy Johnson here.
Good morning, Ahiah family. This is Nancy Johnson with a great big thank you for all of your donations to the Angel Toy Drive in the last 2 weeks. We raised a record amount of money this year thanks to you and your generosity. Good morning, Ahiah family. This is Nancy Johnson with a reminder that we have less than 10 days to go before I need your donations to purchase Christmas gifts for the 25 children that we have adopted this year. Please join with me by opening your heart and your wallet to help these children have a special day. Our gift does make a difference. Please keep in mind that our philosophy of sharing our abundance with others is a blessing from Spirit. And we acknowledge that as we give, so shall we receive. Please go to ahiah.com to donate by next Sunday or send a check to the church. As always, you may contact me if you have questions or need assistance. Thank you again for the continued support you give me in helping our community outreach partners.
Thank you, Nancy. And if you still have not donated and you wish to, we have this QR code that you can take a picture of, right? You can bring out your cell phone, aim it at the little square there, and it'll take you to the right form for that. We have 25 kids, and we're giving them all $25 gift certificates and also stocking stuffers that Nancy's getting. So anyway, every little bit helps. So whatever you can give is great. And then today, we're having the second class of the Wisdom of the Enneagram. And so last week we had a class. I know that some people were not able to be here. So I just want to let you know that if you weren't able to make it yesterday and you didn't talk to me over the week and got me to catch you up, that it's okay. We'll have something in January that it will get you caught up to the place where the rest of the class is. And then in March, we're going to do some more work on the Enneagram so that we understand it and can apply it in our lives more. And I also want to say that the Women's Circle is meeting this Friday. And so they have Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. and that must be Merry Christmas that I can't see in there somewhere. And so they're going to be getting together to talk about what they want to do together as a group next year, and also to share among the community, what's going on in your life. So tune in. That's this Friday at 7 o'clock on our usual Zoom room. You can find it at ahiah.com/virtual. We also have the holiday party. It's January 8th. Don't wait too long to buy your ticket. You can also get to the use this QR code to do that. We're going to be doing it here at Ahiah this year, catered with Deborah Thompson's food. So if you've eaten Deborah Thompson's food, oh my God. It's truly delicious. And then in January, I'll be teaching Beyond Limits, and so that'll be on Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 9 o'clock, and it starts on January 17th. It's 10 classes, and it's a love offering of $15 a week. And don't do that. There we go. And then we also have a workshop coming up on January 22nd that I talked about last week. We'll give you more information. There's flyers in the back if you want to see that. And then Dear Rev Scott. So if you're interested in some ideas for me about things that you're having in your life, you can always call me. People call me all the time. But if you want something in writing, you can go to Dear Rev Scott. That way you don't have to tell me who you are. You can be anonymous if you'd like. And then a book study we have every Tuesday night, and The Way of Mastery. I hear there's a lot of people in that. How many people are showing up?
Probably 16 to 18 people.
16 to 18 folks on Tuesday night. It's a happening time. And then who is our practitioners here today? I know Marcia is here somewhere. We've got Reverend Mike. We've got Chris. We have myself. Anybody who would like prayer, we are here. And if you want to contact one of our practitioners, we have 10 wonderful practitioners that serve this community. You can go to ahiah.com/meetourpractitioners. You can also put in a prayer online. So those of you who are online and can't ask for a prayer right now with us, feel free to go ahead and just put in a prayer request. That's only ever seen by our ministers and practitioners. And you can also go get a dial a prayer to lift me up throughout the week. Just go to the website or call into our home line here, the office line, and you can hear a reading and a prayer. And it's just a really sweet way of being supported through the week. And so, let's do our benediction. By the way, the Enneagram class, for those of you who took it last week or are joining us this week, is going to start at 1 o'clock in the fellowship hall. And so our benediction is here on our screen. Let's say it together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it. And I share it, just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. So it's so wonderful to have you here this week, and I will see you next week. And you can always catch us online. For those of you who are online, I hope to talk to you throughout this week before I go on vacation on the 20th. So, if I don't see you before then, have a Merry, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in the new year. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.